This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
The PGA Championship gets underway tomorrow, our second major of 2026. It is going to be hours deep by the time that we're on the air, and we'll talk about it here and get some best bets with Jeff Seeley as we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on X at Cutmaker Jeff. The Cutmaker podcast is up now wherever you get your podcasts. Good afternoon, buddy. How are you today?
I'm great, fellas. How are you?
Doing really well. We'll get into your outrights, your placement bets coming up in about 15 minutes. You're going to hang out for 2 full segments with us. How many, when we talked about the Masters last month, there was this notion that only, I don't know, whatever the number was, 8, 10, maybe 15 golfers could win the event, and that was pretty much it. Is this event like way more wide open, or would you say it's kind of similar to what we had last month at the Masters?
No, I think it's a little more open in that you have more people qualifying in this, right, than you do for the Masters. But by the same token, the Masters has a lot of former champions who are effectively dead. And in this thing, you have a lot of club pros who are effectively dead, right? So you have, say, 20 some guys who qualified as they're PGA professionals in their local market. Those guys are effectively dead as well. So I think there's a combination there, but I'd say it's a little more wide open than the Masters, but still only a handful of people who can really get this done.
Huh. You don't want to attack Michael Block then this year?
I bet against him last week. There's one of my daughter's golf coaches was, he put him up. Jeff Sherman put him up last year at the Westgate, and he beat Michael Block last year. So yeah, I mean,
11 to 1.
I wish I could do it again.
11 to 1 to make the cut.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm not betting on Michael Block. I'm out on that. There's plenty of other good guys to make the cut. I would rather parlay 5 guys to make the cut than gamble on Michael Block at 11 to 1. I'm out on that.
Well, the key here in some of your notes, the key is going to be putting, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And again, it's crazy stat. I think that's really interesting. Last time the PGA played here was in 2018, was the BMW Championship, and Keegan Bradley gained 62% of his strokes putting. And so, not a super long course, par 70, 7,400 yards. So it's like, you're going to have to be able to putt. And I think that's just it. Putting is going to be critical. So that as much as anything, I don't count on Michael Block and his putting this week. 11 to 1, you can have him polys all year.
Oh boy, come on. Negative.
He's fun poison.
No, rooting for the good story. Yeah.
So we were looking around today, found some really creative props at a lot of the national books, FanDuel, DraftKings, Bet365, et cetera. Some of the stuff on FanDuel really good. You can bet like any 2, and they'll give you 4 golfers. Well, any 2 of the 4 make the top 10, make the top 20, et cetera. Did you find anything there?
Yeah, guys, one of the ones I liked a lot on FanDuel was Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood, and Koepka top 20, any 2 at minus 180. I like all 3 of those guys that finished top 20. Koepka's more so I worry about the putter. The other 2, I mean, I think they're all great top 20 bets. And the fact that you only have to get 2 of them get there, I like that a lot. I think that's a unique angle to take. And then other than that, I looked at some of the traditional make the cut parlays. There's one I really liked, Harris English and Ricky Fowler to make the cut parlay on FanDuel that plays better than even money, plus 106. So that was one other prop I played there. And then the others are just some same things. You can get 2 guys to finish top 20. You could parlay them to get the same price. But like I did Rory, Cam Young, both finished top 20 at plus 150. So you can shop around and maybe find a better price there if you parlay 2 of them. But I think that's a pretty fair price on Rory and Cam Young to both finish top 20. I like that on FanDuel too.
All right. Are you on any live golfers this week? There are markets up there like will a live golfer win it? And then who's going to have the highest finish or the best finish out of all the live golfers? What did you find there?
So it's interesting. I've really struggled. I've gone back and forth with Jon Rahm. I was going to play him and like every model and every like sim and everything you look at loves Jon Rahm this week. And so, but my gut is just telling me he's not a good play. He's not a good bet. Something's something's off, and my gut is just telling me don't do it, which means he's for sure to win because I'm not going to play him. But I do like Tyrrell Hatton this week as top live golfer. You can find him better than 5 to 1. And you look at Hatton, I mean, there is a really, really compelling story for this guy, right? I mean, in his last, his last couple events, so Live Golf Virginia, fine, 17th, but he's finished back-to-back prior to that, top 5 in his live events. And we know the guy can play well in majors. So I'm I'm a big Tyrrell Hatton guy this week. I think 5-1 is easily. I think it's a great price for top live golfers. So that's one I really like a lot.
How about lowest round shot 62.5 and leading score after the first round 63.5?
Yeah, I like the over on both of those. I think that those are both pretty aggressive. I would be over on both of those bets.
Be over on both. What do you think the winning score is going to be then?
I saw Sherman, I think it was, said 12 under or so, and I think that's actually a pretty good line. I think it's going to be a little better than that. I would take I would say it's going to be a little lower, so under, if you will, on that. I can see it getting into 13 or 14, maybe even 15, because last time they played here, I think it was 20 was the winning score. So somewhere in between there, but I like a little, I think it'll be a little better. So I can see 13, 14, 15 under winning this week. I don't mind that. And one other prop, guys, I played that I think is kind of interesting. I played it at the Masters and I like it again, and I'm going to keep playing it, I think, until it kicks me off, is first time major winner no. Mm-hmm. And there's some guys I like in this market, but I mean, you get think of all the great golfers who have won a major. If any of them win, you win, right? So it's minus 142 on the no. So I was looking at the guys who could beat you really on the yes. So Cam Young, Oberg, Fleetwood, Henley, Cantlay, Hovland, Hatton, and Ricky Fowler. Like, that's who can beat you, in my opinion, on the yes. And you have Scotty, you have Rory, you have Jon Rahm, you have Bryson, you have everybody else on the no. Like, at minus 142, I think that's a good price. And I'm going to continue to bet that every major until just into perpetuity, probably, because I just think the no is such a good bet there.
Okay.
Good research. What did you find at Bet365 on winning margin, 2 strokes or more?
Yeah. So guys, the last, I looked this up, the last 20 years, the winner of the PGA Championship has won by 2 strokes, exactly 2 strokes, 9 times. And so you can find Cam Young at 20-1 at 2 strokes or more, and Ricky Fowler at 110-1, 2 strokes exactly, 2 stroke margin victory. So I like both of those, and then you can boost those up a little bit. Ricky Fowler, especially 110-1 if he wins by 2 strokes. I think that would be super interesting.
First of all, I love the fact that there is a book that offers that. It kind of ties into like NFL division bets. Like, I want books to offer, will a team win their division by 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 games, whatever it is, you can name your price. And for golf tournaments, I wish they would be like, you want to lay a stroke and a half with Scotty Scheffler to win this thing? Do you want to lay 2.5 strokes with Rory, whatever it is? I think that'd be great if it became commonplace. So that's up there, and that's how you're going to approach that one as well. Did you do anything with the hole-in-one? And Paulie, have you bet that yet?
Yeah, no 125.
You bet the no?
Oh, yeah.
So I saved that one from Paulie. I never bet that. The only time I ever bet that actually is at the Masters. There's usually a hole-in-one at the Masters, but I have not bet it. Not a market I'm gonna take this week, but I saved that for Paulie. Paulie, how many times have you cashed on that?
I usually lose. It usually happens. I know, it usually happens. But I do bet the yes on the Masters, though, is what you said earlier, though. Yeah. But the no on the other events.
Jeff, you should see it as soon as any event that Paulie has the no on and we get a hole-in-one, the Twitter feed is just ding, 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 ding.
I don't know if you're watching, but
hey, Paulie, there was a hole-in-one. Really?
Yes.
Oh, right. Thanks. Yeah, I don't have it on TV right now. Yes. You've been to this course.
7 tweets I got didn't tell me that.
Well, you've been to this course multiple times, yeah?
I have, yeah. No, it's a beautiful track. Again, there's nothing that is really remarkable about it in terms of difficulty, right? So as I'm thinking about this and just looking at the scores, I think really it's going to be the rough and the greens, and it's going to be, there's going to be a little bit of weather, right? It's going to be cooler. It's going to be in the high 60s, and there may be a little bit of rain. So I think that could be a little bit of a factor. If the rough gets thick and you're hitting at a wet rough, that's never fun. But honestly, I think the guys are going to be fine, and I do like a decent score of 13 or 14 under to get there this week.
Copy that.
Good job. All right, we're brought to you by Francetic Tax Resolution. This is the part of betting most people don't think about until it's too late. The IRS taxes your wins, and if something's off, those letters start showing up fast. Saw the news, Dana White sent the letter to Trump. Paul Francetic has spent over 20 years helping gamblers fix tax issues and deal directly with the IRS. He's offering a free gambler tax problem consultation so you can understand where you stand and what to do next. Call 262-752-6992 or go to gamblertaxhelp.com. GamblerTaxHelp.com. Call Paul.
We will continue with Jeff Seeley coming up next. Again, you can follow him on X. He is at Cutmaker Jeff. The Cutmaker podcast this week is now up. Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get them. And he's talking about the PGA Championship. We're gonna get into all of his outrights and to his placements as well. I'll just throw this out there because I don't see him at all. Jeff betting him this week. I found Scotty Scheffler at plus 115 top 5 yesterday. I had to bet that.
All right.
If it loses, I'm okay with that.
Okay, yeah.
A plus 115 to finish top 5 was a bet for me. You're going to get the entire rundown of his best bets coming up next here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. I've got something for you that almost feels too good to be true. First, credit where credit's due. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already leveling up your betting game. You're riding along with our best bets and top angles. And when there's a good game on, you're getting involved with a few props and alt markets as well. There's one more layer if you really want to step things up, and that's VSiN Pro. I've mentioned it before, but things are only getting better for our pro subscribers. We just rolled out our MLB prop projections, breaking down some of the best edges across strikeouts, hits, home runs, and more. And that's on top of everything else pro subscribers already get, including public betting splits, expert picks, and betting guides across the sports calendar. If you haven't tried it yet, stop sleeping on it. You can get your first month just $9.99 or save big with promo code POD26 on the annual subscription. Hit the link in the description and start cashing in with VSiN Pro. All right, back to the show.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Follow the Money is sponsored by Francetic Tax. If gambling winnings turned into a tax problem, don't ignore it. Paul Francetic can walk you through your options. Free consultation at GamblerTaxHelp.com. Again, that's GamblerTaxHelp.com. Definitely file that one away. As Jeff Seeley remains on the Progressive guest line, and now we'll get into his best bets for the PGA Championship. Again, you can follow him on X at Cutmaker Jeff, and the Cutmaker podcast is out for this week. All right, buddy, near the top of the odds board. Scotty's obviously the rightful favorite. Then you get into Rory, Jon Rahm, and then Cam Young. Who do you want to attack it with?
Yeah, I mean, guys, it's hard to pick against Cam Young, who you could argue is the best player in the world right now. And if he's not the best, he's definitely the hottest. If I'm nitpicking here, it's that his putting was awful on Sunday last week. It's been so good this year. We watched him in insane putts go in on Saturday. It just seemed like he was going to make everything. I live bet him last weekend. And then he 4-putted from 14 feet on Sunday and never recovered, losing almost 5 strokes putting on Sunday and ended up down putting overall for the weekend. That is my lone case against Cam Young. I don't have to tell you guys or anybody who's paid any attention how good Cam Young's been. Obviously, he won the Players and been on a heater ever since then. Runner-up at the Masters. Look, arguably the second best player in the world right now, if not the best, and definitely the hottest. I'm on him at 15-1. And the fact that Rahm is actually below him in the odds market really surprises me. So I think 15-1 is a great price on Cam Young.
All right.
And I think you could. I love him in matchups too. I would play him in a lot of matchups this week.
Well, I love the come to Jesus meeting years ago when Butch Harmon asked Ricky Fowler, do you want to be a golfer or a Kardashian? And we're going to hear audio from a guy coming up as well who's strong on him this week. But you're also strong on Fowler and think he's back and can win this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he grades out number 2 in my model this week, largely due to the fact that right now he's the best putter in short and long-term form. It comes to having finished top 10 in 3 straight events. He was the clubhouse leader last week on Sunday, gaining on approach in all 3 and gaining 5 strokes putting last week. But guys, it's not just his last few events. In January, he stood up 3 straight top 20s at the Amex, the Waste Management, and Pebble. Finished T9 at the API early March. Hit a skid around the Players, and now he's bounced back with 3 straight top 10s. Can he spike putt this week? Last time he played here in 2018, he gained 6 strokes putting. Mark my words, if he gains 6 strokes putting again this week, he's winning his first major championship. So really high on Ricky Fowler this week. I played him on just about every matchup as well. So yeah, I like him a lot. And in the top 10, I bet him 65-1. I also bet him top 10 plus 400. I would actually be surprised if he didn't finish top 10. He's probably my favorite placement market bet this week.
Wow. Okay. So you're going to go Cam Young 15-1, then drop all the way down to Fowler 65-1. All right. Then who do you have behind him?
Yeah, guys, Minwoo Lee is a very dynamic character, not only in his personality, but in his golf game. Models and sims love Minwoo Lee every single week. It's easy to see why. You don't have to look any further than his last 5 events to understand Minwoo Lee in a nutshell. And when we look at people who can win longer shots in golf tournaments, you're looking for what we call spike weeks. Typically, it's spike putting, but with Minwoo Lee, his spikes are all over the board. At Truist, he gained 4 strokes off the tee, 2 strokes around the green, lost putting. Doral lost 2 strokes on approach, gained 4 putting. RBC gained 2 around the green, lost 5 putting. Masters lost everywhere. In Houston, where he finished T3, gained 3 off the tee, gained 5 on approach, gained 3 putting. So the point is, when he puts it all together, he can contend in any event. His talent's undeniable. He doesn't do it very often, which is why he's 69-1. But if we can get a combo spike off the tee and spike putting week, as long as we're just neutral everywhere else, I think we can find a top 10 finish and potentially be in the winning conversation. So I like Minwoo Lee. Plus, he's super fun and really easy to cheer for. And then, guys, the former U.S. Open champion, J.J. Spaun, who brought, if you hadn't heard of lab putters before, you did after that, 69-1, plus 450, top 10. And he is the model of the aforementioned spike putting. He has a win and a top 5 in his last 5 events. And in each case, he gained two strokes more putting with 3 rounds in between of losing 2.5 strokes putting. So it's those spike weeks that have kept him, going, because his irons have been great there. The important thing here, the irons are absolutely dialed. When they're on and he spikes and putting, he's definitely in the conversation. And people forget that since his U.S. Open win last June, where he spiked for 10 strokes gained putting, that's insane. Since then, he has a Ryder Cup appearance, 4 more top 5s, and 2 top 20s, including a top 5 last week. So it's not a fluke. J.J. Spaun is legit. His price seems pretty absurd, 70-1 or so. So I'm going to take advantage of this. I do like J.J. Spaun a lot this week.
All right, Bomb Squad, this is crazy. This is the favorite bet you've ever made, 101 or higher, 100-1 or higher. Tell us who it is.
It is, because I will not even be slightly shocked. So I won't even be surprised if Harris English finishes top 5 this week. He's 120-1, and he is just a quiet dog. To check the putting box we've mentioned, he went on a run earlier this year where he gained an average of 3 strokes or more putting across 7 straight events. The guy can flat out putt. The current form is there. Finished T4 at Harbor Town a few weeks ago, T24 at the Truist last week. But guys, what people don't realize is how good Harris English has been in Masters, particularly his putting. In majors. Over his last 8 majors, going back to 2024, he's gained an average of 4.3 strokes putting across his last 8 majors. Now, how have his results been? In the Open Championship last year, he was runner-up. And in last year's PGA Championship, he was runner-up. So you have a guy who we know can putt, who we know can putt in majors, who was the runner-up at the PGA Championship last year, and he's 120-1? I'm going to ladder him top 40, top 30, top 20, top 10, top 5, some on the outright, and I'm parlaying him with Ricky Fowler at plus 106 to make the cut. Those 2 guys are better than even money to make the cut. That is going to be my biggest bet of the week by a big margin.
Wow.
I absolutely love that.
Very good. And I'll tell you this too, by the way, to add in on Harris English, Jeff, you know this as well as anybody. He can really go out there and get scorching hot on Thursdays. I think if you're that high on him, you need to play a little bit on the first round leader market with him as well.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I would think you bet him every way you can, right? I agree. The first round leader market's a good way to look at him. But he's a guy too, though, Mitch, that often gets scorching hot on Sundays. Yeah. And he'll be T20, and next thing you know, he's T4. Yeah. Right. And he's so quiet. He doesn't get a ton of TV coverage unless he's in the final. He's just not in a marquee guy. But man, is he good. He is extremely consistent. And what a price on a guy who's as talented as Harris English is. Yeah,
very good. Other first round leaders that you're looking at would be who?
Yeah, guys. I mean, Hollywood Hoagie, right? We got our guy Tom Hoagie. He wasn't on the board earlier on DraftKings. He is now. He is 250 to 1 to be the first round leader, and he's 20 to 1, top 10 first round. I like that a lot. Keegan Bradley, again, we mentioned he won here in 2018. He's 88 to 1 first round leader. So yeah, I don't mind those at all. And I am going to play some Harris English first round leader. I think that's a good bet. So, and the other one of the bets I made is Cam Young to be leading after all 4 rounds. You can find that on Bet 365 too. So I'll be cheering for him first round leader a little bit as well.
Basically wire to wire with him.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm with you, by the way. A lot of the stuff that I was reading and people, making predictions, they're super high on Rahm this week. I love that guy going into the Masters, and he just completely stuck a knife in my kidney. So I'm probably making a mistake, but I have nothing on Rahm this week at all. Now, this will be the tournament that he comes out and proves everybody right. Right?
But isn't it weird though that he's lower on the odds board than Cam Young?
Yeah.
Doesn't that just feel wrong?
Yeah.
And look, I know he's playing good golf on LIV, but it's not the same thing. Ask Brooks Koepka, right? I mean, it's not the same thing. And it's comical. I mean, I would bet Cam Young in a matchup against Rahm all day long and sleep soundly. And if you see it, I would encourage you to take it because I guarantee you're going to find a decent price.
You think he's frustrated, though, too? I mean, what's going to happen with these guys? And Rahm pretty much said, I'm stuck because of my contract?
Well, and Paul, and look at every interview this week, there's no positivity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not like there's a bunch of positive vibes going on. It's not like, hey, welcome. It's literally the opposite of Koepka. Koepka's like, hey, Brooksy, good to see you. Welcome back. And Rahm, they're like, what's happening with LIV? Are you happy? What are you going to do? Did you miss the boat? I mean, it's got to be somewhat distracting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Great breakdown, man. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate that, and crush it this week.
All right, fellas, take care.
Thank you.
There you go. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow Jeff Seeley on X at Cutmaker Jeff, and the Cutmaker podcast is out for the PGA Championship as well. I bet Aubert at 35 to 1 for the first round leader, because that's a guy who also gets off to like these just flamethrower starts and then can fizzle out a little bit. I don't have him to win the entire thing, but I think those numbers that he just brought up on a guy like Hoagie and English, huge numbers like that, worth betting.
I like Goddard, Koepka, and Fowler. I'm surprised there hasn't been more love for Goddard.
I'll give you an angle that is now 38-21 ATS since 2021 after the Spurs got it done last night.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue now Wednesdays with the Maestro. Mike Palm is the VP here at Circa Las Vegas. Time now for You Cannot Be Serious.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Well, got to pay off the Mitch Moss tease. I learned that from JT the Brick. By the way, good tweet by JT today if you caught it earlier this morning. If we knew you were coming, we'd have played the game. You know what? I was looking at college baseball scores this week because, selection's coming up. We're going to have the regionals and super. I couldn't understand all these games. Canceled. All these top 25 games canceled. There's no big storm coming across the country. There's no. But then I started to dig into it a little bit. Let's see what's just happened here in the last 5 days in NCAA Division I college baseball. Virginia Tech canceled their game against Marshall. Boston College canceled their game against UMass Lowell. Kentucky canceled their game against Northern Kentucky, citing travel delays. Oregon canceled a 2-game series with Grand Canyon. NC State with NC&T, saying it was mutually agreed upon. Miami with Florida National, citing an unplayable field, although there was no bad weather. Central Florida with Bethune-Cookman. East Carolina with Campbell. North Carolina with Queens University. And then I came across this video. This is from Josh Holliday, who is the head coach of the Oklahoma State baseball team. I thought this was awesome. Go ahead.
And I said this on the radio show, and I don't really care who hears it or sees it. The number of college baseball teams canceling their games today because of the RPI implications of playing a team beneath them in the RPI and the subsequent risk of penalty had you lost that game, or the penalty should you win that game. I think it's just an unbelievably bad look. I think the coaches that agree to do that should look in the mirror and ask themselves what kind of example they're setting for their team. Had we taken that route, we would have cheated our team this opportunity tonight. Kids had multiple home run games. Guys came through. Guys gained confidence. And really, quite honestly, your word should mean something. You sign a contract as an adult representing college sports. You should stand strong on your commitment, and you should be an example of what these young men should aspire to do as grown-ups.
So the selection committee's coming out in a week and a half, and they're canceling their games against lower-seeded teams for a fear if they lost, it would cost them seeding or to be in the tournament.
No.
Listen, all these games got canceled. They won't play the lower team now the last 2 weeks of the year because it'll hurt their RPI rankings. Isn't this ludicrous?
That is.
That is criminal.
Oh, my God.
So the NCAA issued a letter, the subcommittee that oversees Division I baseball, and said, you guys have to stop canceling your games. The selection committee may look unfavorably upon it when we have to pick the tournament. NCAA Division I head coaches who are doing this.
You cannot be serious!
You know, I was explaining to a friend how awesome the promotion relegation is in soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think England does it as good as anybody, right? Bottom 3 teams in the Premier League drop down to the Championship League, and then you elevate 3 teams. It's created a lot of excitement around West Ham and Tottenham, right? And who's going to get put down. But how about when you go to who gets put up? Top 2 go up, and then you have the 4-team playoff. Home, and it's just incredible how good this is. I want to transition this to a different league that maybe many people haven't heard of, the Professional Women's Hockey League, okay? This league is now in its 3rd year of existence. A lot of the Olympic players, right, from Canada and the U.S. are in this league. 8 teams in the league. Attendance has gone, now I think they count the free tickets they give away, but attendance has gone from 7,000 to 9,100 to 11,000 average this year. I couldn't believe that. So the top 4 teams in the PWHL make the playoffs. Now get this. The number 1 team gets to pick who they're going to play in the first round.
Okay.
I like that.
The number 1 team. So Montreal Victory were the number 1 team. Now, they could have played the 4th place team, the Ottawa Charge, or they could play the 3rd place team, the Minnesota Frost, who, oh, by the way, is the 2-time defending league champions. Who did they choose? They chose the number 3 team, the Minnesota Frost.
What a great name.
It goes to, stuff is awesome. It goes to a deciding 5th game that was supposed to be played Monday night. Now, a friend of mine had a bet on Minnesota at 5-1 before the season started to win the championship, right? An hour and a half before the game, it was noted the game was postponed with no makeup date set. Game 5, the deciding game of the semifinal series, was postponed. We came to find out it was because 4 players on the Victory had the stomach bug. Now, I'm serious, Mitch. They had the stomach, but they were having some issues in the bathroom. They had the stomach.
So who's not going to play the game?
They postponed the game with no date set, but the girls were fine. They had an emergency shipment of Pepto-Bismol sent to Quebec. And within 12 hours, the girls were fine. They played the game last night, and the Victory held on to beat the Frost 2-1. By the way, Ottawa, the 4 seed who they didn't choose to play, upset the 2 seed Boston. So it will be Montreal against Ottawa. This makes, now, so there's 3 series every year, right, to determine one champion. The completion of that series with Montreal beating Minnesota was the 8th series that's been played in the history of this league. It's the first time a higher seed has won. This is crazy stuff. Now they're expanding next year to 12 teams. I don't know if you saw that. Detroit is getting a team. Las Vegas is getting a team, and there's 2 more that haven't been announced yet. The thoughts are that it's going to be Hamilton and Sanders. I have to start. I don't know where you can find it. I'm sure you have to pay for a package. But man, they canceled it for the stomach bug. Montreal Victory.
You cannot be serious!
You know, I've never been the biggest fan of the former official that comes on now as in a part of every telecast to explain the rules to us. You know, I was okay kind of with Steve Jaffe. Steratore gets to the point where these announcers act like they don't know the simple rules of football and they got to ask him questions that are embarrassing. I can't take Dave Jackson anymore. I cannot take Dave Jackson anymore. He will never pick a side. If you want him to comment before the review, forget about it. He's never going to take a stance on it either way. And then after the review, he's going to confirm whatever the official said. How about 2 nights ago when you had the wild game against and Manson takes the butt into the stick and hits him in the neck or below the ear, right? So they're going to review it for a major, right? Jackson comes on and says it can either be the major or it's a 2-minute minor. They wait, they come out. What did they come out with? The double minor. The situation that he never said could possibly. Then he comes up with the rule that, oh yes, if you attempt to use the butt end of the stick, it's a double minor. What? Now, then last night was just too much. With that 12-minute delay, first of all, there's two angles. You can see from the front-facing angle that it's in the webbing.
Right.
And then you see from the overhead, the webbing is well behind the line. I thought it was obviously a goal, right?
Yeah.
Sean McDonough said 97%.
I know,
this is a goal.
97.
Dave Jackson, got to go with the call on the ice.
Right.
It's just not clear. They come back, it clearly crossed the line. He says, well, they must have other camera angles than we have, right? And then you get the challenge on the goalie interference.
Now, this is asinine.
His
own guy hit him.
His own guy hit him.
Ah.
And it didn't prevent him from catching the puck with the glove. Lindy Ruff was right. That was he couldn't believe the call there, but they got to get him off that. He adds 0 to the telecast. Dave Jackson.
You cannot be serious.
I can't stand it. There's this. I have no idea what goalie interference is.
Meanwhile,
his own guy hit him. That was
there was
absurd.
a 14-minute delay in that game that totally let Montreal reset when Buffalo was dominating the game, and right away they came back with the tying goal.
I'm surprised. I know we don't have room, but I'm surprised Daryl Morey didn't make the list.
It's 4 years past time with this guy's never won anything. He's supposed to be one of the top 3 GMs in history.
The McCain trade. He also. Embiid said, I came into the season, I didn't know if my knee could hold up. He gave him 3 for 192.
What about Paul George?
4
How about
for
the Paul
212.
George? And Maxey. You got 3 guys making over $40 million a year next year. You're buried. How about the next guy coming in?
They're buried.
They are buried.
George, 4 for 212. The last 2 years, George, Embiid, and Maxey have played 43 games. They're 21 and 22.
In Philadelphia, they booed the 76ers off the court and they give a standing ovation to the Flyers. They both got swept. That tells you what the fans think of both organizations.
Are you betting the hockey game tonight?
I did.
What'd you do?
So I thought the Wild played their best game of the year in Game 3. And then I thought they played one of their worst games of the year in Game 4. I don't care. They had a 1-0. They're terrible. They had 4 shots on goal with 8 minutes left. It's totally unacceptable. Hines called them out. Did you see his quote? We consciously chose not to compete tonight. We consciously chose to play in a way that we couldn't win the game. I think they have to, and even though it's on the road, they have to unleash hell on Blackwood. I went Blackwood over 23.5 saves.
Okay, very good. Best bet in baseball. You've been riding this Nationals wave the entire year.
I just do it. And I've added a team now. So I go by top 5 hitting teams and top 5 worst ERA. And that's the combination. The Nats have been in that all year. You know, you can add to that combination. Houston. Yeah. So now I'm auto-playing Astros overs as well. You just have to do it blindly. You can't say, oh, the pitch you match it. You just have to keep doing it. I believe that. The Nats has been, the Astros, I came upon it a little late, so I'm a little below sea level on. How about Imai? Imai, they made 3 starts, the Japanese, right? Yep. The mounds are too hard. The weather, the food, the culture. They brought him back. Well, he gave up 6 and 3 plus last night. I said, somebody send him some food out there with the bases loaded in the top of the 4th.
And they rushed him back because he was bad in rehab anyway.
Yeah. By the way, our guy goes tonight, Lugo.
Lugo, yeah.
Play him over outs. Didn't work last time. He did throw 104 pitches, but he only threw 4 innings. I wish they'd catch Salvi Perez when he pitches. This young catcher, I don't think he calls the game very well.
Are you off it then, or did you play it?
I played one more.
Okay.
Maybe he's got a dead arm in mid-May, but I'll go back to it.
We saw a lot of runs early again last night in Sacramento.
Yeah.
A's and Cardinals. Maybe that's something to keep an eye on again.
I think you play all those games over, all of them over.
All right, Maestro.
And Kurtz to get on base. Every single game.
By the way, we need to pump this up. The Twitter handle's been active again at Circa Maestro.
Yeah. We're back in the game.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
How about this? Starting pitchers are on an 8-0 overrun with their K prop against this team. Find out which one next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Follow the Money, brought to you by Francetic Tax. If you're a gambler dealing with IRS letters or taxes on winnings, Paul Francetic can help. Get a free confidential consultation at gamblertaxhelp.com. Again, the website is gamblertaxhelp.com. Matt Youmans going to join the program here, VSiN host. We're going to get a lot of his PGA bets for this week. But also, they're going to put on a special NFL schedule show tomorrow night on VSiN Primetime, beginning right after this show. I will tell you guys, Matt, thanks for the time. Jeff Sherman sent me a message over at the Westgate. They posted Seahawks and Patriots. That's going to be the lid lifter to the season. They have Seattle 4.5 and the total of 44.5. Thoughts there from either one of you guys?
I'll take Seattle.
I think it was going to be I think Seattle's going to be a 5.5 point favorite. That's what I would say probably. But I didn't think the Patriots were going to be on the opening night. And I thought the Bears-Seahawks would probably be the matchup because we were down to 4 potential opponents for Seattle. And I didn't really think the NFL wanted the Mike Vrabel talk leading all the way up to the season opener.
Yes.
Not only is that a distraction for the Patriots, but that's a kind of publicity the NFL doesn't want before the season opener. So a little bit surprised that the Super Bowl rematch is going to have Vrabel and the Patriots. I don't know, Paulie, is Vrabel going to be coaching that game? What do you think?
It depends what Rossini's got in her bag. If she tells her story, and if she's got, is he the father? I don't know what's going on there, but more could come out, and it could be the, I'm too much of a distraction. I'm going to call it quits. Stranger things have happened, no doubt, my friend.
What can we expect tomorrow night on the show, Matt, when they're releasing the entire schedule?
I'll be surprised if Vrabel quits, by the way. And by the way, the owner of the Patriots is the guy who's hanging out at the Asian spa on the morning of the AFC Championship game. So I don't think he's going to be in a rush to hurry fire his coach. Tomorrow night during the NFL schedule show, Tim Murray and I will just try to talk about the most important aspects of it. I think we're trying to get Warren Sharp on the show tomorrow night.
Good.
You want to look at rest. One of the key things is how many days of rest teams are going to have, who's got a rest advantage or a disadvantage, how many days rest a team might have that's an advantage before key games. You're always looking at when bye weeks are placed, if teams are going to play 3 consecutive road games, when the division games fall in the schedule, things like that. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a few factors that might influence a win total play that you like or dislike when you see the schedule laid out. I have made one Super Bowl futures bet, and I'll talk about that on your show next week.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Good tease. I
All
like
right.
it.
Excellent. So what you got the Bansa 5-1 to go number 1 overall. How you feeling about your ticket? Are you going to hedge?
Yeah, actually, in the email I put plus 500. It's actually plus 550. I think that was made a FanDuel. I was collaborating with Aaron Moore, the professor who lives on the East Coast, and we made this bet on February 9th. I was talking about I was so fed up with Darren Peterson and his act. I said, there's no way you can draft this guy number 1. This is ridiculous. And Peterson at the time was minus 400 to go with the number 1 pick. And DeBansa was plus 550. I like DeBansa much more as a player. So on February 9th, I took DeBansa plus 550 and only made 2 small hedges, one on Caleb Wilson, I think at about the former North Carolina player at about, I think 40-1, and one on Darius Acuff at 120-1, but those are really small hedges. I am not going to hedge on Darren Peterson. I don't like Peterson. I never have. I think he's lazy. He doesn't play defense. I've seen guys like this come into the NBA. They're a dime a dozen. He's got a nice offensive game. He can score 20 points a game. He's not going to help you win. Any GM or scout who touts him as the number 1 overall pick should lose his job. Darren Peterson, I wouldn't even draft the guy in the top 5. So I'm not going to hedge. I think when you look at the prospects in this NBA draft, I like better than Peterson. I like Caleb Wilson, Darius Acuff, Kingston Flemings, Cameron Boozer, and obviously AJ DeBansa at number 1. Peterson's not even a top 5 pick for me, so I'm not going to hedge on that.
All right, let's get into the the PGA, the best bets that you have. Believe it or not, Scheffler is 5-1, maybe even a touch higher than that at some spots. Are you touching him this week?
Yeah. And by the way, I should say Peterson probably will be a top 5 pick, but I would not pick him in the top 5. That's what I'm saying. I'm just going to hold my position there and not hedge on that. So I did play Scheffler 5-1 this week. When he was at plus 425, 450, I said, I don't know if I'm going to play that. But if you've been watching Scotty with 3 straight runner-up finishes, he's right there. I mean, it's in all 3 of those tournaments he finished runner-up. He was burning the edges on putts, just a little bit off of his putter. Obviously, his current form is as good as it gets. And I think a guy like Scotty, who's so competitive, was fed up with finishing second. I think he's got a great shot to go back-to-back here in the PGA. I played him at plus 500, obviously 5-1 to win this tournament. And I don't bet the favorite too often, but I do like Scotty at that number. And I felt like Scotty should have won the Masters. You know, we talked about this. How many times did Rory McIlroy drive the ball into the trees and get lucky? You know, and by the way, when you look at this course, I watched the Golf Channel all night last night, and they have the drone flying over the course, and they had the course architect Gil Hands, who redesigned the course 7 or 8 years ago, talking about hole by hole. There are not many trees on this course, so you're not really penalized that much if you can't find fairways. But I still think driving accuracy is going to be more important, because where you place your drive in relation to your approach shot is very important. These greens are going to be extremely difficult, and that's the toughest part of this course. It's par 70, by the way, and there are a bunch of par 4s that are right around 450 yards that these guys are almost going to be able to drive the green. There is one par 4 where most guys probably can drive the green. I think they're going to score. I want to say the winner of this tournament is going to be around 14, 15, 16 under. I think the course is going to play easier than initially thought, because the weather doesn't look like it's going to be a factor. Not much rain, not much wind. And after I watched that last night, I said I think the winner is going to be around 15 or 16 under probably. Jeff Sherman put up the winning score at, let's see, I believe at 12.5 under par is the number. That would have been 267.5. So bet that under. Bet winning score under. I also bet Scheffler to finish top 5. You can find that anywhere from minus 110 to plus 130. So shop around on that. But I like Scheffler to win and Scheffler top 5, and then play some longer shots.
Okay, talk us through Fitzpatrick to win and also top 10 as well.
Yeah, I don't bet Fitzmagic very often, but you talk about current form, he's got it. Both Fitzpatrick brothers are pretty hot right now. And when Fitz won a major, he won on a course that's a very similar layout to this on the East Coast. And his game is about as good as I've seen it. So I played Fitzpatrick at 24-1. I think he's 25-1 at Circa right now. Also played him top 10 at plus 210. So he's one of the mid-range players I like the best. So we got Scotty, Fitzmagic. We got Russell Henley, former Georgia Bulldog. And Henley's at 65-1, top 20. I played him plus 158. And if you remember the Masters, Henley was charging hard late. Mm-hmm. And in fact, Rory finished 12 under, Scotty 11 under, and Henley was at a tie at 10 under. And he's been playing really well. Again, current form is a lot, major emphasis for me in golf handicapping. So Russell Henley at 65-1, top 20, worth a shot. And we were talking about this one off the air. I've had my eye on Ricky Fowler here for a few weeks. He's been playing a lot better. And Fowler's had a lot of success in PGA tournaments in the past. And he was an under-the-radar guy. Jeff Sherman at the Westgate, I know, grabbed him at one point at 150-1. Well, Fowler played so well over the weekend. He took the solo lead on the back nine on Sunday, and I said, damn, that blows his cover. Now everybody's going to be on Fowler this week in the PGA. And he has become very popular this week, and I don't like that aspect of it. And he'll probably choke on Sunday afternoon again. But still, it's a big number. And when I left Circa Monday night, Circa had Fowler at 60-1. I think the Westgate had 65. And I drove out to the Red Rock Sportsbook, and believe it or not, they fell asleep at the wheel on this, and they had Ricky Fowler up at 100-1. So I played triple digits on Fowler.
All right. I think that's it for the PGA,
also
right?
10, sorry.
Okay. Yep.
What's up?
Scotty, Fitzy, Henley, Fowler, outrights, and then like either top 10s or top 20s. And for Scotty, it's a top 5.
Correct.
In about a minute left here, we have a game starting in Major League Baseball. Your lone baseball bet of the evening. Good game, by the way. King takes on the Miz. Padres at the Brewers. What do you like?
Okay, Paulie, if I told you before the baseball season that in the middle of May, Fernando Tatis would have 0 home runs, and Manny Machado would be batting 193, would you believe the Padres are in first place in the NL West?
Absolutely not.
No, I think this team's a fraud too. Yeah. And Mizrachi the Miz kid shut down the Yankees last week. Very impressive. I mean, lighting up the radar gun at 102, 103. Mizrachi, 44 innings pitched, 70 strikeouts. That's 14.3 Ks per 9. I think he can handle this Padres lineup. It's a bit of a square bet, but I did lay 140 with the Brewers tonight.
Very good. Matt, thank you. And I'm looking forward to you and Tim on the schedule release show, special edition here on VSiN tomorrow night.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Go. Matt Human joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Yeah, as soon as that stuff's going to be popping, man, right here on VSiN, they'll have point spreads, totals. We'll talk about it, win total stuff, all of it. And we'll get into our best bets in pocket plays next here on VSiN.